There's a lot of things you can do to make sure you're not dating somebody crazy.
He gave you the position of power by offering something that 2 seconds later he's going to regret.
Most financial advisors would really hate on this episode.
For sure.
My name is Joseph, your host for Better.
My name's Jane. I'm Joseph's co-host. My dream is to be rich, fabulously rich, right now.
Each one of these episodes will cover 4 topics. We take what the traditional formula is, how everybody else is doing it, and if there's one way to do it better, then that's the stuff that we want to cover.
It's really, really interesting, really informative.
All right, let's get to it. It's New Year's Eve. We were trying to go to a restaurant. We didn't make an appointment, so our bad. We were about to be seated, and then the server told us, if you didn't make a reservation, sorry, we don't have a seat for you.
What?
And I was like, okay, I understand. The people behind us came up and said, oh, sorry, we don't have a reservation. Another server said, oh, right this way. Yeah, we were there we also don't have a reservation. And then the server who was helping us was like, oh, I'm so sorry. They shouldn't have done that. Let me go talk to the manager.
Yeah.
The manager came and said, I'm really sorry. That really shouldn't have happened. But all of our seats are booked now. There is no more seats. You are free to sit here at the bar. I can't guarantee that there will be a seat available. I said, oh, absolutely. We'll take that seat over there. And then, no kidding, within about a minute, the manager came, told us to go to the seat, and immediately gave us food. We ordered, and within 10 minutes, the food came. We finished,
What?
and we were on our way within an hour.
What?
And by the time we left, the restaurant was still half empty.
What?
Let me tell you what happened
Okay.
behind the scenes. When people negotiate, oftentimes they only think about what I want versus what you want. What's even more important than negotiating between what I want and what you want is thinking about what I don't want and what you don't want. When you have that matrix down, when you know exactly the circumstance for everybody involved, then it's very easy to negotiate and find the best solution for both parties. So in this situation, what's the worst case scenario for me, the consumer? I just leave, I find another restaurant. The worst case scenario for the restaurant, there's only about 5 seats at the bar. We don't have anything planned. We can sit here all night.
T
HD03.
H
D03.
Now suddenly, the bar, the restaurant, is gonna lose out on revenue for the rest of the night if they lose out on those 2 seats. Once I sit down at the bar, and if I don't leave, they can't kick us out because of their mistake.
He gave you the position of power by offering something that 2 seconds later he's going to regret.
Or,
You know what I mean?
or maybe he was 2 steps ahead. Maybe he was like, I'll offer you the bar, we can't guarantee you a seat. This person is a sucker. There's no way he wants to sit at the bar for an hour. He'll probably want to be angry and leave.
Okay, great, we
3.
got it. Please
pumped.
In a lot of things in life, circumstances happen, and instead of just negotiating what you want, what the other person wants, really think about your worst case scenario. And maybe you don't get what you want and you get a second tier, but at least it's not the worst case scenario, and you will be much happier.
Were you thinking about all of this, of 2 steps ahead, or was it yeah, sure, we'll hang out?
It's almost second nature now. right?
Really?
Because I think law school and mediation trained us for that. So it's very second nature to think that. Being very clear about that matrix and being able to position your emotion accordingly will make you a better negotiator. So I was sitting down with my financial planner, and they were analyzing exactly how much I needed in order to retire. They go through a bunch of questions. A lot of it is, what do you do? What do you like to do? What do you like to spend money doing? I almost want to say their goal is for me to say the really expensive, lavish things. I want to travel the world and all that stuff. And I said, well, I want to read all the books that's on my shelf. They were like, okay, sounds good. They were very disappointed. They were very, very disappointed when I said that. And then we talked about other things that I like to do. Like I like to volunteer. I like to speak at certain events stuff. And I probably want to do that all the way until I pass away. And it's like, oh, so there's additional revenue. So you want to work after you retire. Well, then it looks like you don't need to save anything right now then. After that meeting, I learned that there's so much stress surrounding the topic of retirement. You have to save a lot more. You can't spend. You have to control your urges. There's just so many terrible things that people have to suffer through their entire lives just so they hope that they can live comfortably. If you really match your end goal in your lifestyle, you might realize you don't need to save for retirement. Retirement planning is so much more than just dollar and cents.
Yeah.
Lifestyle, the experience, so many things can help you and you live a better and healthier life.
So instead of it just being how much money you have, it's okay, well, you have to think through the life that you want and what that lifestyle costs. But then also, there's a lot of things that you could do right now that will make that lifestyle much cheaper, so you don't have to save as much.
If you can foresee your problems, then you can solve those problems beforehand. Using money to solve problems is the most expensive way to solve problems, right?
It's really just being like, yeah, money has its place, but it's not number one. Because no one wants, well, I guess most people don't want money to be number one, but feel like it has to be.
Right. So that's why I think this is a better way.
As a veteran student, what do you think makes you successful?
Study in bite-sized meals, right? So right before class, spending 5 minutes to review everything that the professor is probably going to teach that day and thinking to yourself how they would teach it and what they're going to say and what questions you have. Before class starts, 5 minutes. After class, spend another 5 minutes and just think through everything that the professor said, what surprised you, what didn't surprise you, what questions you have, and then put that all in your notes. Just don't wait until the very, very end to do everything, because then you retain so little. Whereas by doing this, you are constantly reinforcing.
I do really like the whole like right before priming your brain to like look for things, then you're super focused on that in class, and then right after. And in my head, I'm like, oh, well, if that's all it takes, like I'd be much more willing to dive into something like that. But when I think of the more traditional way of kind of just being there, listening with one ear, cramming before.
It's extremely inefficient, right? You're going to class, but you're not learning. So the time you're in class was wasted. Another secret I think about like studying is making it fun. For me, when I'm learning about a subject, I always try to think what's fun about this particular subject. Like when I was in law school, law is extremely dry, but I would like draw cartoons on my law books, right? Like if this was a children's story, what would it look like? I think it's more fun. So if things are fun, generally you do it better.
So one of my roommates is really into like true crime. She got me into one because she told me it wasn't that scary. And it's true, it's not that scary. But it's called Dirty John on Netflix.
Threats, harassment, intimidation.
They all say that it's you.
What kind of a person does that?
Essentially, this woman is still looking for a life partner, and they're really wealthy, really well-to-do, but she's single. But it ends with him, apparently, and this is a true story, he tries to kill her adult daughters. So thankfully that's not an everyday occurrence. You know, we don't have like hundreds of Netflix shows that go exactly the same way. I guess the two sides of the spectrum, right, are finding the person you're meant to be with through dating, whether online or offline, or finding someone who's gonna try and murder your family. When the spectrum is so wide, right, of these two extremes, how can we date well?
The number of psychopaths that people end up getting with online and then getting into danger with is statistically low compared to the normal good people that you get with that you end up turning into a psychopath that want to kill you, right? How many relationships have fallen apart, gotten divorced, people turn nasty, scratch your car, destroy your house, kill your dog, terrible, terrible things have happened to normal people. There's a lot of things you can do to make sure you're not dating somebody crazy. Get a couple references, get to know his family and friends, and if there's nobody there, then maybe either catfishing you or something completely bogus.
Reflecting back on when you were dating, what do you think you did well?
When you're dating, you're discovering yourself. What's so important about dating is not just what you're looking for, but what you are not looking for. And you signal to them that I am not your type, so they won't choose you, because in dating, time is precious. You might only have a few years to do that. So you don't want to waste it on somebody who is just not going to be a good fit. Be very clear what you're looking for and experiment with different types of people. Love will find the right time to meet you. And then when they come, welcome them.
Aww.
And then when they have to leave,
Oh no.
say goodbye, thank you for staying.
Oh.
See you again.